All right, good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the New Canaan Board of Education this Monday, February 12th, 2024. Call to order. And we'll start by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we'll review and approve the agenda of February 12th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Erica, second. Matt Campbell, all in favor? It's unanimous. And then approval of the minutes from January 22nd, 2024. Motion to approve the minutes. Laura, second. Julie, all in favor? And next, comments from the public. To ensure the public's right to be heard, the board set aside time during the meeting for public comments. 2 minutes will be allotted each speaker and a maximum of 15 to each subject. Anybody want to come forward with comments from the public? Seeing as there are none, we'll move right along to reports and recognition. And the first is SAC's Hawks Court presentation, which we're really excited for.
Great. So while our SAC's PTC and our principal, Mr. Gustich, are moving over to the mic here, I'll just give a quick intro. There we go. There we go. Very good. So very excited to bring this project forward to the Board of Education. This is a project that has been in the works for some time. Certainly a labor of love over there at SAC's, and what the project, as you'll hear about, really is focused on doing is impacting every student that goes through SAC's practically every day. It's a space that's very, very often used, very frequently used, and really designing it in a way that there'll be something appealing about this space for every child as they go through. So really, I think it's very thoughtfully done. It's very exciting. The commitment for our schools certainly is coming through, and for our kids over at SAC's. I want to congratulate preemptively both Jess Hutter and Jessica Knowles, or Jess and Jess squared, whatever you want to call them, our co-presidents over at SAC's. And thank you for that. It does make it a lot easier for me if every co-president team would do that. But really say congratulations, because a project of this scope can take quite some time. And you really moved quickly and got it done, to get to the point that we're at now. There's still a lot to do, but to get here as quickly as you have really speaks volumes to your commitment and the effort that you've put in. And I think it's a really exciting project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Gustich or to whoever's going to take it from there.
Just going to do a quick intro. So good evening to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on the latest project. And I just wanted to thank both Jess and Jess as the latest co-presidents. The PTC has always been so supportive. They've been great partners in terms of allowing us to really continue to expand upon the opportunities that our students have at SAC's Middle School. As recently as last week, we had one of our classes outside in our newly finished Hawks Valley courtyard space, where we had a class out there. They're studying Greek mythology and had the opportunity to go out into an amphitheater type area to go through some role plays. It was wonderful to see. And this is another opportunity, as Dr. Letzi said, that all our students will be able to utilize for many, many years to come. And this is probably the most utilized space on our campus behind the cafeteria, where everybody goes through every day. So due to inclement weather days, there's times that we don't get out there, but we are out there all year long, 4 periods a day minimum, and then beyond that, the other 4 periods are used for classes, and that's just during school hours. So this is really going to be, an opportunity to enhance this for both SAC's Middle School as well as for our community. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Jess and Jess, and once again, thank you to each of you.
Thank you. How do we do the slides? Should we advance them ourselves? Downer? Perfect. So again, I'm Jessica Knowles, and this is Jess Hutter, the SAC's co-presidents. And we're here tonight to talk and share the proposed renovation plans that we've developed for Hawks Court, which is as Dave was saying, the blacktop area, including the basketball courts out back behind the school. And we will be we'll be putting forward a donation that we're looking for you guys to approve tonight. And then I'll quickly go through the agenda. We want to talk about the reasoning behind the project, what our process has been to date. We'll talk about the initial budget and planning and fundraising for the project, a current snapshot of our budget, and then at the end, we can have some Q&A if there's any questions. I just wanted to share kind of why we felt the need to improve upon Hawks Court, and Dave, I think, shared, and Dr. Letzi, it is the most used space. So what we decided this year during our fall fundraiser called Celebrate Sacs was to give it a theme, and our theme was just play. So all of the activities and things during the course of that week really centered on, why it's important to get outside for kids, indoors, outdoors, play, do the things that you love, be active, and that was kind of our focus. And we really think having a theme that tied into our renovation plans, being able to show some of the plans and our proposed, what it's going to look like at the end, really helped drive participation in the fundraiser. And we had 462 donations. And it was wildly successful. And again, you want to just do that? We decided to focus on Hawks Court because it is truly one of the most utilized spaces at Saks, all grades, all boys, girls, everyone uses it. We're going to have, Jess will get into it, but there's going to be spaces too for kids to sit and read and do other things. It doesn't have to be just, running around or playing basketball. It's also a community resource, a community-wide resource. So, on the weekends, if there's a soccer game or lacrosse practice, people will come and use the basketball courts and kind of play in the area as well. And it's very well overdue for maintenance. You could probably see in that first photo that was up there, there's a lot of cracks in the pavement, faded lines. The two courts are different sizes, and they're not regulation for middle school. So we're hoping to improve upon all of that stuff.
All right, so I can walk you guys through our process to date a little bit and what the numbers come out to. We started this project last summer, met with Tiger Mann and John Howe, had a couple contractors come out just to give us some off-the-record bids, so we even knew if it was feasible. Working with Dave and the school and Brian and Tiger and the town, an RFP was released in early January. There was a mandatory walkthrough where we had the two bidders show up, ask some questions. The lowest qualified bidder, as deemed once, going through all the numbers, was Burns Construction. So that is who we're proposing to go to contract with. They have assured us they can meet our timeline, which is to start as soon as school ends and be done the week before school starts over the summer. So they have about a 60-day window to complete all of the construction. And we're confident that, given the work that needs to be done, that can happen. So this is sort of the hurrah, I guess. So the total donation for the project will be $217,895.90. Obviously, most of that comes through with Burns Construction, replacing the asphalt, replace fencing, regrading it to, if you've ever looked at it from the parking lot, you can see there's a nice crown in the middle of the two courts, which is interesting to play basketball on. 5 new hoops, so that we're gonna keep the 2 courts. They're going to be the same size, both slightly, not full NBA size courts, but slightly larger than middle school size courts. And we're gonna put a practice hoop in the back corner, so it just gives the kids an extra place to kind of go and shoot around. We're gonna purchase new tables and umbrellas to go in opposing corners, so for kids who wanna go out there and play games or read or just sit and talk, they have somewhere where they can do that. Part of our fundraising was if you donated at certain levels, we would put your name on a plaque, so we will be purchasing that, and some additional trash receptacles just to help the custodians try to keep the space nice. And then just from a budget standpoint for where the PTC stands, we underspent our budget last year by $97,000. If we completely fund our budget for this year, which we don't think we actually will have to, expenses are coming in lower right now. Based on that budget plus what we have in our reserves, we can comfortably spend $220,000 on the project, without giving our treasurers too much of a, yeah. So, we can cover it. We don't have to ask for any more money. As Jess said, Celebrate Saks was hugely successful. I think, we were lucky in that we had pictures of what the space could look like so people could visualize it. Because if you have been out there, to kind of highlight it, it's a need. Tiger told us the asphalt's original, so it's 25 years old, hasn't been really updated or touched. So we're excited to get it done.
Thank you very much. This is really impressive. You guys did an amazing job. Thank you. And being able to raise all that money. I'm excited about it. You guys have any questions? Brendan?
Yeah, thank you. Just want to echo that. This is a great project and appreciate you spearheading it. Is the footprint the same? And then also, just from a maintenance perspective going forward, is there anything that's majorly different from what's there today?
No, so the footprint's the same. We're keeping all of we're replacing the fencing, but it's gonna go back to where it was. There's one bit of curb that is kind of at the very back edge that we're gonna get rid of, so the entire inside of the fenced-in area will be paved. The courts will have an all-sport court coating on top of them, but in terms of maintenance, no, I think it's similar to what, kind of has been or should have been done over the last, just paving cracks or sealing cracks when they do pop up, stuff like that.
Thanks.
Erica?
I was just going to say thank you. That is a tremendous fundraising year that you had. So great job to you, and looking forward to seeing the project come forward.
Great. Anybody else? So I know it's in the back page, but I think we're going to move up the action item for right now and take a motion to approve the donation from Saks PTC in the amount of $217,895, spot 90, for the Saks Hawks Court. Can I get a motion? Matt Campbell, and then second Julie. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you all.
All right, next up, Mr. Tesber and friends.
Singular, friend.
Just fix that.
You got that?
Yeah. I'm just going to fix the screen, and then I'm going to stand. Yeah. Good evening. We are excited to be here to talk about these two terrific programs, the launch and downtown campus. I have with me Christy Carrero, who is the assistant principal at the high school, who is the general ed administrator for the downtown campus. Kevin Ryan is under the weather, so he will not be joining us. Hopefully he's watching. Kevin is the special ed administrator for the high school and the launch program and the downtown campus. So I will start talking about the launch program, and then I'll turn it over to Christy to follow up with the downtown campus. The launch program was started in 2011 with the goal of providing transition services for students between the ages of 18 and 21 at that time. Now it's 22. Prior to this, students who were receiving those services had to go either to an out-of-district placement or they were here at the high school and the services were limited. So the creation of this program allowed us to meet the needs of our students in district with a high-quality program. All students in special ed have the ability to stay in and receive services until they're 22, but most of the students go off and graduate and go off and do college or whatever they're going to do. It's our most complex students with their complex learning needs that will stay and participate in the launch program. And the typical profile of students in the launch program falls under those categories: the intellectual disability, autism, Down syndrome, and multiple disabilities. Those are the students those are the profiles that we most typically see at the launch program. Staffing for the launch program. There's a full-time special education teacher there, Scott Craig, who does an amazing job with these students. There are related services that come down to the downtown campus from the high school, and the related services that come to the downtown campus are dictated by the IEPs for the students. So some students may have occupational therapy in their program, so the OT comes down from the high school and services the students there. Physical therapy, speech and language is often down at the launch program. Social work and psychologist also will be part of the team over at the launch program as needed. And then we also have job coaches there, which are TAs that are specifically trained to work with students to help them learn the skills for a particular job that they're working at. They help to facilitate the learning of the skills and then oversee the students while they're on the job sites. And the number of job coaches varies depending on the needs of the students and the number of students at the at the launch program. This year we have 3 job coaches who are down there with the program. The curriculum for the launch program is grounded in the unique learning system curriculum, and then that curriculum is then individualized to meet the needs of the students who are in the launch program at that time. There's a focus on 3 major areas: independent living skills, community participation, and vocational skills. In the domain of independent living skills, the students are working on personal hygiene, they're working on grocery shopping and food preparation, nutrition. Every week, the students will sit down and plan out a menu for the week. They'll write up a grocery list, and then they'll go off to the grocery store, shop for the ingredients they need, come back to the launch program at 220 Elm. And I should say, and there's a slide in here about 220 Elm, it's been a game changer for us, for these students, with a full kitchen. Prior to 220 Elm, there was a galley type kitchen, being generous probably there. The new kitchen has really been a game changer for the kids. And you can see, students making a variety of different meals, some pancakes, and following a recipe, and eggs or whatever they're making. So it's been a huge improvement in the ability to teach these kids the functional or independent skills around food preparation. They're also working on a variety of household skills. Laundry is something that we couldn't do prior to the 220 move. There wasn't a washer and dryer at 39 Locust, but now there's a washer and a dryer, so the kids are working on laundry skills, which is great as well. Money management is a key piece of independent living skills for the students to work on. This is a challenging concept and a skill to develop with students, because it's a very abstract concept that you're telling me that these coins or these dollars have value, and what does that mean? And it's a very difficult concept, but a very important concept for the students to learn. So they work on that as well for independent living skills. Then also safe and unsafe situations, both within the community and in the home as well. Community participation. So utilizing the resources in the community, going to the library, knowing how to access information at the library, going to the YMCA, knowing how to go into the locker room, change to go out and and work out on the machines, how to use the machines, are all skills that Scott and the team work on with these students. Transportation and navigation around the community. Some of the students have the ability to use their iPhone and use Google Maps and put in an address and follow the directions. Some students actually, believe it or not, tell them where you want to go, and they'll tell you how to get there because they've got it memorized down. It's amazing. Also, every year Scott brings in Get About New Canaan, and they come in and they talk to the students about what services they offer, because they'll provide services for students, I believe it's 18 and older, students with disabilities. They'll provide transportation for them. So they come in, they talk about it, and Scott works with them, the team works with them on how to call up, schedule I need to go to wherever I want to go, schedule a time for a pickup, and they come in, they get dropped off. So that's an important skill in terms of navigating the community here. Shopping is, again, another skill, not just grocery shopping, but in other stores around the community. How do I pay if it's, $17.89? Well, is it a $10 bill? Is it a $20 bill? Or is it a credit card? Which is kind of how we're going, or Apple Pay, or whatever, we're moving in that direction, for sure. ATM use, how to use an ATM, and is it appropriate to take out $150 to go to the diner, or should I take out $20 to go to the diner because I want to go and have breakfast or whatever it might be. Leisure activities is another area of focus. So being able to go out to, a lunch with peers, and how do you order at a restaurant? How do you pay? What's a tip? How do you figure out a tip? All these different strategies around that, or, going to the movies, and how does that work? Or if I want to go bowling, or I want to do some other leisure activity, how do we access that in the community? And make sure that the kids have the ability to enjoy, their community and the leisure activities so that they have a fulfilling adult life. And then what to do when help is needed if you're in the community and you're on your own. How do I find a trusted adult? Who are trusted adults? And who can I go and get access and get support and help from? Vocational skills. That's a huge focus at the launch program. The end goal for all students in the launch program is some type of competitive employment. Some of the students will reach that goal, others will not. Depends on their individual situation. So the team works with them on dressing for work. What's an appropriate, outfit to wear if I'm going to work in an office versus I'm going to sweep the tennis courts in town, or whatever the situation may be. So dressing for work or dressing for success. All the students will develop a resume. So they'll come in, in the program, and they'll work on developing a resume that they can then take to a job interview. The team will work with the students on developing interview skills. And you can see one of our students, Oliver, there. He's got a nice shirt and tie on, giving you the thumbs up. He's ready to go out for a job interview. So, and he's a great worker. Oliver's a great worker. He's a great kid. So that's part of the process with the vocational skills. So we take them through, the traditional process that anybody would go through. In terms of learning to how to dress for work, the resume building, interviewing skills, and then another aspect that we focus on, or Scott focuses on with the team, is the ability for students to maintain focus on a task. So in order to be successful in most of the workplaces, the goal is for students to be able to stay on task for 60 to 90 minutes. That's the goal. It varies by student, where they are when they come in. But I have a brief video that hopefully will work for us of a student who is working, sorry, at the veggie barn. Somebody else is working at the veggie barn in the background. But this is a student who is, peeling these potatoes at the veggie barn. And he was there for several minutes, Scott said, just doing the work and focused, and it's a job that's got to be done. It's a competitive employment, hopefully eventually, but here he is focusing and doing the work, which is awesome. So in developing time on task, where the student can maintain that focus. Where's the display? Oh. All right. I'll go with it like this. Interacting with colleagues is another important skill that they work on for a vocation. The ability to know, how do I interact with a colleague in the workplace might be different than I would interact with my parents at home or friends at launch. Thank you. So that's another skill. I'm going to need you in about another 45 seconds, so it's all good. It's okay. So interacting with colleagues and being able to know the difference in how to interact with colleagues colleagues in different situations. Another skill that's important for these kids to learn, these young adults to learn, is accepting feedback and direction from a supervisor or a boss, right? We all have to do it, so we need, these students need to be able to do that as well. And this is an example. It actually is the same student, but now he's in an office setting. And he's working with one of the assistants here at central office. And she is now teaching him what to do to fill out these forms.
Which one? It's here. 565. Perfect. And let's do this one. 0.
So that's his first day on the job there at central office, learning some office skills and doing some clerical work there. So it also points to those two examples that we want to give students a variety of different experiences. He's at the veggie barn one day and he's at the doing office work on another day. So we want to give them a variety of different opportunities to figure out what they like and what they don't like, because they'll have preferences. So students will figure out what kind of works best for them, and we work with parents to help them realize what the strengths are for a particular student and try and guide them in that direction. Other skills, calling in sick, that we all need to do at times. Understanding your paycheck as well, knowing what does it mean, a paycheck, and how to deposit it in the bank, and all those other skills. Again, the goal of this vocational experience and this training is to have students be competitively employed at the end. And a good number of the students are competitively employed throughout town at different settings, which is sometimes a challenge because students have been so successful in these internships and they're now working there. So when we go to bring another student in, there's really not a spot because somebody's there working all the time, it's a double-edged sword. It's a great thing to have. A great challenge to work out. Transition to adult services. So at some point when students, now they finish the school year in which they turn 22, they will transition from the auspices of the public school and go into adult service providers. There are 3 examples of adult service providers. They're Ableist, Star, and St. Catherine's. One of the things, if families are not already connected to DDS, Department of Developmental Services, the team will work to connect them with DDS, and DDS is a state agency that can provide both financial support, sometimes it can provide respite care for families, among other services. So we want to connect them with DDS. That's one of the first things that will happen when they transition into the launch program, if they haven't already been connected earlier. Help families through the process of selecting an adult service provider. Scott and the team have a lot of experience in working with these providers. We have transitioned multiple students over the years to the different providers. So we guide them through the process. In the end, the selection of the adult service provider is up to the family. And, STAR may work for some families with, certain needs with a student, and Ableist may be better for the next family. So it's purely a choice for the family based on, going to visit, going to talk to them, and hearing what programming they can offer their child. We also connect families with the BRS, which is the Bureau of Rehabilitation Services, and they can sometimes help support students and families with some vocational experiences as well. Sometimes it's a little limited, with funding at the state level, things have been reduced. But certainly the Bureau of Rehabilitation Services does help some families with some vocational experiences and support. And then once a family selects a program, whether it's Ableist or STAR or whatever it might be, the team works to design a transition plan. So the goal is to have the first day at whatever adult service provider be very similar to the last day at New Canaan Public Schools, right? The transition, we want it to be as smooth as possible. So what we generally do is once the family selects it, we start with some conversations between Scott and the receiving team at STAR, let's say. And then as springtime comes, we do a 4 to 6 day kind of transition period over the course of a month where the student will go to the STAR program. The TA that's working with the student goes with the student to the program so that they can instill in the new team all the tricks of the trade in working with the student, how to get the most out of a student, what the behavior plan is that might be in place, all the things that will help make that transition to a new service provider smooth. Because again, that's our goal. We want a nice, smooth transition from one to the other for the benefit of the student. 220, I already talked a little bit about that, but it really has, changed the way, Scott is able to work with his students there. The kitchen's been phenomenal. the setup for, getting ready for work with the way that the sinks are there for all the students, and they have their grooming needs taken care of. They have spots for everything. It's an awesome setup. And for the downtown campus as well. The space there for the downtown campus has been a game changer as well, and it's provided us with some new opportunities for both the downtown campus and the launch program to work together on some activities. They've done a field trip together. You'll see a picture at the end of a field trip they took together to Terry Connors. And we've also had staff from central office go over to launch and work with the kids and do some baking lessons and so forth. So it's been a huge improvement for the programming. The space is awesome. So, ready for the downtown campus, my friend?
Thank you for allowing me to talk about our alternative program at the downtown campus, because it really is an exceptional program which really has met the needs of so many kids and different where they are, academically and on their journey in high school, and it might be a little different than their typical, peers at the main campus, and it really is, it's just an outstanding place. So the downtown campus was created in 2018, and it came about because there was an increase in the social emotional concerns of some students, an increase in school avoidance with some students, and also to help students who were transitioning back from therapeutic settings and IOPs outside of school. So the alternative program consists of both general ed and special ed students. And the vision has remained the same. It's students and teachers working together to create a safe and supportive environment that embraces individual differences. Collectively, we empower the overall growth and development of students so they can move forward and contribute to the world in meaningful ways. So at the downtown campus, the staffing can adjust based on the needs of the students, but it typically consists of a full-time social worker, a full-time special education teacher, a teaching assistant, and then our teachers from the high school, and this year one from Saks, push in for a period to teach history, English, science, math, Latin, and elective courses. So those are all different teachers who are going down a period in the schedule. And they also have the support of me as a general education administrator and Kevin Ryan as a special education administrator. And the program has a strong focus on social and emotional development, and we accomplish this through intentionally incorporating ruler, similar to how we do here at the main campus, DBT skills, mindfulness, and individual and group counseling. Students experience a similar schedule and course load as they do at the main campus, but with more individualization to meet the different needs of our students and to incorporate community opportunities and field trips within the school day. So they follow the same block schedule as we do here at the main campus, and also allows our teachers to be able to go down there and teach their period. We align with our district curriculum here. Again, the courses can be individualized and increased level of supports based on student needs. There's a high emphasis on community participation, so work studying, volunteering, connecting with our launch students, and field trips. And some examples of field trips that our students have gone on are to the workspace, to the Boundless Adventures, Filling in the Blanks, Botanical Gardens, and as most recently as today, the Ridgefield Playhouse. And we want to have students to maintain a strong connection to our main campus. So our students have the ability to participate in all of our extracurricular activities, whether that's clubs, whether that's in athletics, our VPA programs. They maintain their relationship with their school counselor, so their academic transcript, is a consistency with their school counselor. They have the opportunity for independent study, as our students here do. We also have a hybrid opportunities for students, so they have the opportunity, if they're ready, to split their courses, so they can take a couple courses here and at our downtown campus. And then they can participate in all school events. So our students join us for our pep rally, for our all school picnic, and just different events we have at the high school. And as I said in the beginning, the program has just benefited our students in so many ways. Some of the ways are just retaining students in our schools. You know, they get to maintain New Canaan Public Schools. They get to incorporate, you know, their extracurricular activities with their friends. They get to maintain a rigorous curriculum, and of course, as appropriate to their needs. And it really provides unique learning opportunities and community experiences that benefit their academic journey. And some of the positive outcomes and accolades that we've had are improved school attendance and engagement for those students. Many students return to the main campus, whether that's full-time or hybrid. The opportunity for the hybrid programs. All students that have graduated from there have had a plan after graduation. And I'm proud to say this year all of our seniors down there have already been accepted into college. Yeah, so that's a great accomplishment. So thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. It was a great presentation, and I'm so happy that you guys are getting such great use out of the new space, because it is really special. I have just a question as it relates. I know this isn't necessarily in your swim lane, but do you make any suggestions or referrals to parents whose kids have significant needs and will likely need like lifetime financial support? Do you make any referrals or recommendations for like estate planning attorneys, special needs planners, anything like that?
No, we don't. Usually families will come in already down that road.
Okay.
You know, we sometimes can connect parents to other parents.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, you know, recommending particular attorney or estate planning for special needs,
No, I did.
it's kind of out of our lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other questions? Brendan?
First, I just wanted to say thank you for both of these programs, but in particular the downtown campus. I just think it's been such a huge, hugely positive change over the last 5 or 6 years. So thank you for doing what you've done with it. First, just on physical space for both programs, and then second, just on staffing. Do we feel like we have adequate space now that we're in a new space? But do we feel like we have what we need there?
I think square footage wise, we have a little bit more space, or at least the same amount of space. The difference is it's better designed. It's designed to achieve what we wanted to achieve with the programming. If we got to a point where we had 25 kids at the downtown campus, we would probably say, oh, we need to move someplace else, we need more space. But for the needs that we have now, the space has been good. Yeah. In terms of staffing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always want to look and see if we can ever, do anything better or improve. And one, thing we're considering or talking about is the idea of maybe like a lead teacher, we have the administrator presence, but someone who would be there daily, who would also teach classes, but kind of take on that kind of coordinator type role. So that's one thing we're exploring.
Is your staff, consistent year to year in terms of who you have coming in for the downtown campus, or is it kind of shifted around?
It shifted some from the beginning. When we first started, we had many of the department chairs at the high school coming over. And now, I don't think there's any department chairs. Mike?
Two. Yeah. The block schedule has allowed other people to have the flexibility to come, where before we were in block, the department chairs had more flexibility in their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's relatively consistent, and then it also depends on the needs and like the courses that need to be taught can shift, which teachers go down there.
Thanks.
I do think the staffing model is one of the strengths of the program, because one of the challenges as you put a program like this together is how do you staff it in a way that you're teaching all of the disciplines, and you're not going to find one person certified in everything. So having where it is, and it's actually, I think, a little bit closer to the high school now, it's easier to get back and forth. So that helps a little bit. We figured out the parking situation, so that makes a big difference. But we're able to move teachers back and forth from the high school. So for instance, like the Latin course that's being offered are different electives that we've run at different times. We've had music technology over there. We've had a variety of different electives based on student interest. Art, I know with library, we've done other things like that. So I think that using it as a point two spread across various disciplines, where you have somebody coming teaching semester at a time in their area, I think really helps. And it keeps, and then it's also a program of choice for those teachers. right? So it's, instead of it being sort of part of their schedule, they really step forward and say, I want to do it this time, and the teachers come forward that are interested in being over there and working with those students in particular, which I think really helps too.
It's a lot of fun doing that. It's not a traditional, classroom experience. It's an alternative experience for teachers as well. It's something different and exciting to do.
Yeah, we want our students to have different experiences in the electives and other things, and
Yeah.
this approach and structure and staffing model works for that.
And, Erica?
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the programming that you do between these two and how that benefits the launch students, how that benefits the alternative students, and how the interactions may have changed now being at 220.
Yeah, so at launch is a little more of a 39 Locust is a little more of a challenge on the different floors and just a little more difficult space-wise as well. But they work together. For example, at 39, there's a little courtyard. There used to be a little courtyard outside the launch program. They work together to kind of put that together, clean it up, table, chairs, and have a spot where they can go and hang out together and some support. Now it's around the cooking piece, because it's just, it's like any gathering, we gather in the kitchen. So everybody's in the kitchen, they do some cooking experiences together, and then they've done some community trips as well, which, the typical peers would be role models and support and help the students, through that process. It's great.
Can you also talk about, for the alternative program, if we didn't have it, what we would be doing for those students and how we would be serving those students?
Some of them would be at the high school still. They probably wouldn't be doing as well as they are in that setting. And some of them, we would probably have to look for other placements that would meet their needs. And so it might be a therapeutic day school or something along those lines.
Thank you.
Phil?
So when the state passed this law that facilitated launch and these kind of various programs, did it give out any guidance on what the, how we measure success?
The state didn't give guidance on that. I mean, a student's success is based on their IEP goals, right? So at that program, it's all about, here are the goals we have for a particular student. We measure the success in achieving those IEP goals around the various areas, the community participation, the vocational skills, the independent living skills. So that's our true measure of success. I know that, one of the greatest measures that we use, in addition to IEP goals, is that student ready to be competitively employed when they're done? Right? It may only be an hour a day for 3 days a week or whatever it is, but they're competitively employed. They know they show up to work on time. They know what they're supposed to do. They know how to ask for help. All the things that we want for those students. That to me is the end measure of success.
Yeah.
And Bill, what does IEP stand for?
Individualized education plan.
Pat?
Thank you for this. One quick question. I saw that on the downtown campus, there's some connections, right, with the main campus, and I was curious as to, with launch, are there those opportunities to sort of give the students a exposure to the main campus? I don't know if they participate in the buddies PE class or things like that. Are those opportunities that exist?
And the vast majority of the students in launch have gone through the high school, they've been through the high school program. But once they're in launch, there are some opportunities to go back, around Best Buddies class. There's also unified sports that they can go back and participate in at the high school as well. So there are opportunities like that.
Okay, great. That's great.
Any other questions? Awesome, thanks.
Bill, launch is a pretty special program. Do our surrounding districts have that, or
Most
any
of our-
interest in that?
They don't
Or any
have Bill.
interest
that's
in
what
our
it is.
program?
Most of the surrounding districts do not have a program like Launch. We have in the past had surrounding districts send students to Launch. We have a surrounding district who is most likely going to send 1 or 2 students to us next year, which is great. It's great for our kids, and it's great for the surrounding district and that student as well. So, and we,
Thank you, Bill.
you're welcome.
I,
Yes, Erica,
Sorry.
please.
I was just wondering, do you anticipate either launch or alternative are going to need to grow? And that might be somewhat anticipating growing from the younger grades to the older grades, but it also might, it could be external. So I understand you wouldn't necessarily know for sure, but do you anticipate that these programs are going to be pretty steady or that they might grow in need?
Launch is pretty steady, right? Launch kind of is 4 to 8 students depending on the year, and I don't anticipate we'll see a huge increase in that for a while. If I look down the road, 10, 15 years, then, there's some students that have some high levels of need, preschool and early elementary. So long-term, there may be an increase, but I don't see anything on the immediate horizon for the launch in terms of size. Downtown campus, I don't know.
It's hard to judge.
It's hard.
It's really based,
Yeah.
on need. But it's very successful, so.
There's an ebb-
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, there's an ebb and flow with that too, because, a student may come over in 10th grade and need that for 10th grade, but then going back to the main campus is what's right for that particular student. And we always try, we start students at the main campus whenever possible. It's rare that we'll have a freshman come and start there, because we want to give every student the opportunity to be there. There's some one-offs. But again, a student may be coming out of a hospitalization and need a time there at the downtown campus because they've been in an IOP for 3 months, and they're, halfway through the second quarter, and we're not going to just dump them into, the school. So we can bring them to the downtown campus, get them back into the swing of school, and then a smaller setting, and then transition the student second semester back to the high school. So there's so much ebb and flow with it.
Yeah, I would add the instructional design in those spaces is more fluid than a traditional classroom type of instructional design. So when you talk about the ebb and flow too, you've got the use of space is not the traditional way where students are going to come in, sit in their seats, be lined up and with the teacher. So there's a lot more small grouping, and even the whole grouping is a little bit different than what a traditional classroom would be, certainly in launch and in the downtown campus too. And as we designed those spaces, we really had sort of a capacity of about 16 to 18 in mind for the downtown campus. And we knew that it flexed between 4 and 8 for launch. Launch has changed just a little bit in that the changing legislation, where when we did conceive of the program, it was at their 21st birthday, students were no longer eligible. Then that was expanded to be the conclusion of the year in which they turned 21. And then it became 22nd birthday, and now it's the conclusion of the year in which they turn 22. So the ages of eligibility have continued to increase there, which, on one hand, we're very happy about, because we think the program that we do for those kids is outstanding, and it helps them and their families and helps to prepare them for that transition. But it has come with a little bit of additional cost. But they're not new kids to the program, they're just staying in a little bit longer. So again, as Bill said, we can sort of see that trend line and see where those kids are coming from. I will say the launch graduation each year is a highlight of mine. We have it right here in the Wagner room. We've got our kids and the families and the videos and the reminiscing. And because those kids, a lot of times, they've been in the system since they were 3 years old. So they've been a part of the New Canaan Public Schools, some of them, since they joined our preschool at age 3, and now they're leaving at 21, 22 years old, and their families and those connections. It's very, very emotional, very powerful, a lot of tears. And to a person, they are so grateful for Scott Craig, who is our teacher over there, who just does an outstanding job with the kids and the families and the community, and the TAs and those relationships that they've formed. But it's really our job, as Bill said, to prepare them for that next step. Right, and to help with that transition, which I think we do incredibly well. I also it's funny, we call it the downtown campus. We didn't name it the downtown campus. The students named it the downtown campus. And before we had that program, we had something called AIP, which was the afternoon instructional program, which was for a different population of kids. It was here on campus a couple of days a week, and we rolled the funding for that, which wasn't really meeting the needs or the goals of that program anymore, rolled all of that funding into the funding for the alternative, now downtown campus program. So it was another instance where we had a program, but it really wasn't meeting our program goals. So we reconceptualized what to do with those resources and got this off the ground and got it up and running. And I love that in the newsletter on the bottom, I saw something else that the students must have come up with, which was they named the downtown campus apparently the best part of New Canaan since 2018. And I'd say for those students that are enrolled in the program and that are really, engaged and connected to it, I think that's a fair statement.
Agreed.
Because it really does make a difference in those kids' lives.
For sure.
Thank you both.
All right.
Thank you so much. All right, moving on to statement of accounts with Sean O'Keefe.
Let's just
Good evening,
give these
everybody.
guys a moment to go.
Thanks again.
I'm kidding, Sean. They're going to be noisy on the way out, you know that.
What's that?
You know Bill's going to be noisy on the way out.
Oh, yeah.
We can't take him anywhere.
No. Thank you.
Okay, operating fund, referencing pages 3 through 8 in the package. As of January 31st, 7 months in, our operating fund totals $50.1 million year-to-date, which is 49.5% of our full-year budget of $103. We also have an additional $46.8 million encumbered, or 45% of the budget. The remaining balance as of January 31st is 5.2 and is currently unencumbered. On page 4 in the package is the year-to-year budget attainment chart. And similar to last month, it indicates that our spending this year relative to the full year 24 budget is running slightly ahead of our prior year attainment of full year 23 actuals. And it's in supplies and equipment, and as I mentioned last month, it's a timing difference, and we expect it to self-correct by the end of the year. On pages 9 through 10 in the package, grants, our total awarded grants total $2.6 million, most of which are 2-year grants, with year-to-date expenditures of $745,000 and a remaining balance as of January 2024 of approximately 1.8. On pages 11 through 12, school lunch, our year-to-date revenue is $1.3 million, or 49.5% of our full-year budget of 2.7. I'm sorry, year-to-date expenses 1.3, or 49.5% of our budget of 2.7. Our net income through January is $132,000, or 57% of the full-year net income budget. On pages 13 and 14, we have facilities rental, donations, and summer school. In facility rental, our revenue to date is $118,000, slightly more than last month. Year-to-date expenses are $144,000. Similar to last month, we had a small net loss. Expenses include additional investments that are related to the Dome project. Despite these investments, the fund balance still remains at a positive $212,000. Donations year-to-date are $653,000 and include the $350,000 that we received in July for the Dome project. Expenses total $503,000 as of January, and mostly related to the Dome project. As reported previous months, the summer school revenue was $148,000, with expenses of $133,000, resulting in a small profit of $14,000. On page 15 is a new addition to the package. These are all open capital projects, and the primary focus is to look at our older projects with the purpose of helping us to identify where we have older projects and to complete those projects and close them out as soon as possible. Total open projects from full year 2019 through full year 24, which is the sum at the bottom of the chart. These open projects have an original budget of $8.6 million, with total expended and encumbered totaling $4.7 million, resulting in an available balance of $3.9 million. So that's 2019 through 2024. Our total open project available balance is 3.9. Of those totals, the most recent open projects, full year 23 and full year 24, and including a box for the 3 elementary boiler projects. I separated them out because they have budget from more than 1 year. So, but the total of the full year 23, 24, and elementary boiler projects, total of 61 projects, account for 7.1 of the 8.6 original budget. and 2.8 million of the total 3.9 available balance. The older projects at the top of the chart, which are the focus of the analysis, account for 1.5 of the 8.6 original budget and 1.1 of the total 3.9 available budget. Of the 14 open projects from 2019 through 2022, we anticipate that 8 of the projects will be completed between the February break and August of this year. There's also 2 paving projects at East and West from the 22 budget that have been requested to be added to the town paving schedule for this summer. And more updates to follow each month, and we'll track our progress on the older projects especially. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Questions? All right. Budget update from Dr. Lutzy.
Sure, and I guess begin with capital. I want to say thanks to Sean and to his team for putting together this exhibit, because a question that did come up with the Board of Finance was about open projects, open capital projects, and certainly there, it's, when you see 2019, you think, wow, that's a long time ago, but sometimes these projects just take that long to get scheduled, to get together, and to make some decisions about. For instance, the oil tank project of 2019 is actually removing that tank. And we've been in conversation with the town for the last couple of years about, will they repurpose that tank or won't they, and things like that. So we just haven't had to pull it necessarily because we're not using it now because of the natural gas. I think, is that natural gas, or that might even be the diesel tank from the buses that we're no longer using?
It is.
The diesel.
Yeah, another example is, I think it's full year 22 budget for a wheelchair van. It's been on back order for several years, and that's one of the items that will be closing out in the next couple of weeks. We finally will be taking delivery of a wheelchair van that we ordered back in 2022.
Great. We're going to let you all know when that happens so we can stop holding our breath. But with capital projects, as you know, the money is approved, but it stays on the town side, doesn't move over to our operating budget. We draw down from that as we expend, and then once the project's closed, any remaining balance rolls back over to the town. So it's managed a bit differently than the annual operating budget, which has to be closed out each year. And the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen do a great job staying on top of it. I know that we did close out about $350,000 or so worth of other projects at an earlier meeting, and we'll stay on top of this as we go. You mentioned also the paving projects, and that's been a tradition. What we've done is put it in our capital budget to begin, so that it signals the town, lets Tiger know that it is a project that needs to get done. He puts it on the schedule, and then he'll move the money over, and typically do it for less, because he'll do it when he's doing other paving projects in town. Because really, large portion of the cost on paving is mobilizing the equipment, getting the asphalt, getting the reclaimer here, and doing that sort of work. And so if he's already doing other roads, it saves the town money, and it works. It's a win-win. We're continuing to look through all of our capital projects. On the budget, as you may know, we did make a decision to defer one item that was in the capital project list. It was the PAs for both the high school and for SACS, the address system. In talking with both Bill Egan and Dave Gussich, we made a decision that it'd be better to delay that for 1 year in order to do a little bit more research to see if that investment can also help out in the classroom. So we're looking at, again, improving the PA system, and they definitely need to be upgraded. I mean, they've been here a long time. They are an older technology. They don't meet the needs of what we have as far as being able to zone out certain parts of the building or at SACS in order to communicate with grade levels or communicate in certain areas. It's just the systems are older and they're aging out in that way. But what we want to explore is there an opportunity to do something in the classrooms that can also enhance the audio for students in the room as part of helping out with instruction and classroom practice. So there is research out there that talks about, certainly in middle school and high school, having enhanced audio in the classroom is beneficial for all students, regardless of whether or not they need it through because of an auditory processing issue or otherwise. So it just helps all students. So we're looking at that. If we're going to make a $650,000 plus investment, want to see if there's a way that we can also benefit students in the classroom. So that's why we're delaying that. We're looking at the other projects as well. They are all high priority. That's always one of the challenges. You know, review the list and get to what's our highest priority, and that's what we bring forward. And then the town bodies say, well, give us your highest priority items, and we say, yes, we already have. So it's, we're continuing that conversation with them. As far as the operating goes, we did, again, meet with the Board of Finance last week on Tuesday. It was about 2.5, 3-hour meeting to really take them through the budget and have that opportunity for the Q&A and the discussion. I haven't received additional questions from them since that conversation, but have received some positive feedback as far as, where we are, where we're going. I spoke with First Selectman today about process a little bit too, and about budgeting and staffing, and we'll continue having those conversations. And as we continue to pull together, there was a question about staffing plan and trends. As that information becomes available, I'll certainly be sharing it with the board prior to going to a Board of Finance or anywhere else, and we can have that discussion here.
Great, thank you. Any questions? All right, moving on to comments from the public. Seeing as there are none. Announcements and future business?
Yeah, nothing to announce tonight. Nothing happening tomorrow, right? Just prior to the meeting, you should have received a notification that school is canceled, closed tomorrow, Tuesday, February 13th. That is because of the anticipated storm. It's been a challenging day, and as far as those forecasts go, but the most recent forecast from the National Weather Forecast, or National Weather Service, was anywhere between 8 and 11 inches, with pretty high confidence and potential for more if there's a shift in the track of the storm. So all of us together, the superintendents throughout the region, felt that it was the right call to make. So we figured we'd end the suspense and get that out just prior to the start of the meeting. It will be our second snow day of the year. And as you know, we have our calendar set for 182 days. And so when there is a snow day, we put that day on the end of the school year. So we add a day on. So we don't build days in. We did that. That was years and years and years ago that we built days in. We haven't done that for a long time. So it's 1-to-1. So as we look, we'll be moving it out one day. It's an interesting week always, because on Friday we have our professional learning day, which means families start their winter vacation right there, their winter break. Staff will come in to do their professional learning. We'll be doing that together, and Dr. Crenti has been working with our professional learning team and our department chairs and curriculum leaders across the board to get that all set up for them. So we'll have a great day there, while families have their travel day built in so they can capitalize on both weekends. We've also been engaged with our screenings for our candidates for the VPA director's position. As you know, that's an administrative position. It's a district-wide administrator. We've had a surprisingly deep pool of really excellent candidates. So the screenings have gone very well. We are looking at finalizing the candidates who will come before the large committee. We're going to be having the interviews over at Waveney instead of over at central office because of because of the space. We want to make sure that it's a big enough space for everyone to be comfortable, because it will be a large committee. And two, the confidentiality. Some of these are folks that are in positions now that are similar and also administrative, and we want to respect their confidentiality as they're coming in. We don't want that to get out. And when all the walls of your office are glass, confidentiality is impossible to guarantee. But we thought Waveney would work well for that, so we'll be having those interviews over there, and we're putting those committees together now, like I said. Last thing, I just want to quickly congratulate our graduate, Lucas Niang, for a second back-to-back victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. As I'm sure you know, Lucas is a player on the Chiefs. He's been playing there for a couple of years. And him and his family and New Canaan connections, and he's been great with our program and continue to come back and talk to our players. And congratulations to Lucas, his family, and to the Chiefs.
Great, thank you very much. Motion to adjourn. Julie, second. Matt Campbell, all in favor? All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.